This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Oh, maybe it can be done. My desire, of course, if I'm to start making noise this morning, my desire would be that the Nigerian government and the people who actually lead in this space at this point would actually be able to see this thing for what it really is. And that you put the people and the country first. And then the continent, to then be able to understand that you stand at a vantage point right now to then be able to call the shots. And to call the shots in your favor of development is actually what you ought to be doing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes. Anyway, I saw a beautiful city with trees. You just had to say it, yeah?
Yeah. Trees in the city. I mean, I have to give it to Wike, who is the, I don't know what to call it. Okay, so how would we say it? In the federal system, you have governors, right? So Abuja is a capital territory, but then you still have essentially what is the governor of Abuja, which is one Sir Wike. And he's kept Abuja really clean. Yeah. So I have to
Safi.
I have to give it to him on that.
We need to go benchmark. The importance of having trees in a city.
Oh, here we go. I see you've not let down just yet.
No, the importance of having trees in a city. It would come through whenever it rains. Runoff water would be handled. You see?
I can get that thing that you've been talking about, my friend.
Yeah.
We can.
And then I also saw some kids with honey here and there.
Yeah. So next to where our home is, there's a gentleman who's got this. He essentially has apiary.
Yeah.
And the honey and I actually brought some back. The honey that this is produced here, oh my gosh, some of the thickest, most authentic stuff that you've ever seen. So my boys had an opportunity to, access the comb and all these good things. There were many things that happened. And it's good to, it was just good. It was good to just
from Nigeria, you're here telling us some of the thickest honey that you can ever get.
Sorry. Wait. I promised to be a good girl. I promised God.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
We were with you. You see, we followed through.
I was with you also.
Yes.
You followed through. I can see. I can hear that. Asante sana. I'm happy to know that mulikuwa vizuri. Mulikuwa salama.
Tuliendelea kusukuma gurudumu.
Now, so now you're making up words.
Gurudumu, we continue to push the wheel.
Fantastic. Good to be back. Good to see you. Awar is here. Good morning. Hope you're well. She's waving at me nonchalantly, so we'll just take that. And I've also enjoyed being Mutanu. Everybody's here putting it together. Karibuni sana. This is a Situation Room. It's the 20th.
Is it 20th? Unajua sana tulichapwa jana, so yeah, 20th.
Wait. You guys. So now, you know what? On Wednesday, you have to win.
I know.
If you lose, that's it.
That's it.
Sorry, Man City will take this thing.
That's it.
Yeah. So how do you feel?
It was a game well played, though.
It was a game well watched.
Anyone would have taken it. The boys played well, so yeah, Man City was the better team.
At that point, yes, they were.
Yeah.
Football and things.
We'll be having easy though. I don't know how I'm gonna walk back home because there's a gentleman who's just waiting for me. But anyway, still top of the table, guys. Still top of the table.
For now, certain things must happen.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose any match moving forward.
No, you can't. You must win your next one if you're going to win this thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well,
Ifikie Ateta, tafadhali.
Lazima washinde on Wednesday.
Kama ni lazima uroge watu roga.
You guys are playing Newcastle on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know, man.
I
wish I could. I wish I could say that I was with you in support, but we'll be praying for you. And as we normally do every weekday, we have conversations on the Situation. Good to be back, and thank you for keeping it here, even and Aseto, of course, continuing with conversations here as we do. Today is the 20th of April. We will not stop. Our conversations will continue. And let's tell you what we'll be talking about today, even as we get into it. Sawa. All right. So our conversation starts at 7 o'clock, as we know. We'll get into the headlines in just a bit. Just a note, please. I think the other papers might or might not be here, so maybe we can look into that real quick. Yes, our live streams are up, YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And we are live on KTN. Everybody, good morning. Whether you're listening silently, getting to where you need to go this Monday morning, this is a Situation Room. Dennis Tolaseto, Nduwako here with you this morning. And let me tell you what we'll be talking about today. All right. So our conversation starts off at 7 o'clock, and we'll be looking into the state of things. And what do I mean by the state of things? at 7 a.m., we will be joined by Dr. Peter Mbai, who's the Secretary of Planning and Economic Affairs with the DCP, that party. He'll be joined by advocate and governance expert Joshua Munyamori. Game Plan 2027. It seems that there's a game plan. I have a couple of things to say about if you are not doing certain things, then you ought not to be playing this game. But that's just me. Let's see what the conversations will be as we have this conversation from 7 to 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, Professor Peter Kagwanja, he's the CEO of the Africa Policy Institute. Fuel taxes and the IMF. Is Kenya being squeezed? What are the conversations that we're hearing or having around? Was there a reneging on the IMF deal? Did something go all right that we didn't expect? And what does this all mean with the fuel prices gone up? This subsidy then that was essentially, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
This subsidy that was then applied no sooner than the prices had been hiked.
VAT was lowered.
VAT
to
lowered for
8%.
3 months to 8%. Can Kenya afford to do this? Can Kenya afford to apply subsidy at this time? Is it the right thing to do? Does it matter that you're in or may not be in good books with the IMF?
What are you hiding?
We'll have that conversation at 8 o'clock. And then it is Monday. So at 9 o'clock, dear Mr. President, we'll have a conversation with him. Do you know what the people are actually telling you? Dear Mr. President, we'll have those conversations. Please listen in to us, dear Mr. President, as we talk at 9 o'clock, because we'll be looking at a number of things today. Just to remind you that this is what Kenyans will be saying to you. That's what it looks like this morning. So thank you for tuning in. And we'll say a good morning to you as you tune in this morning. Again, just a reminder that we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, and also on KTN. So you can talk to us and let us know where it is you're tuning in from this morning. Just say a quick hello. And we'll say hello to you real quick. Okay.
Hizi inafaa tuambie watu proverb.
Well, I see that it was how many weeks?
Kia Mungu gani? Hizi labda sinaenda mbio.
Sorry, boss. Sasa hii wiki unatupeleka wapi?
Anyway, we are in a country that is considered the world's oldest continuous civilization, with a history that dates back to 7,000 BCE.
Boy, I want to say Mesopotamia, but then I remember that we're in Africa.
Yes, it's still in Africa. We are in Egypt.
Oh, yeah, I was close. Mesopotamia,
Hapo tu
Egypt.
kando,
Okay.
Yeah, unajua. So you talk about the Nile River, the longest river in the world, is actually what feeds the country. They depend on that for their agriculture. But let's go just straight to the proverb, eh? The proverb this morning. If you are mighty and powerful, then gain respect through knowledge and through your gentleness of speech.
If you are
mighty and powerful, then gain respect through knowledge and through your gentleness of speech.
sometimes chest thumping is not the way to go.
Yeah.
Pole pole too.
Pole pole.
We can hear you.
Pole pole.
I guess you don't have to prove your might.
No.
The lion doesn't go around the jungle telling everybody, I am the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
No. It's gently padding through and can tell. Everybody knows. You don't have to come shouting. Just calm down.
Power is not displayed through aggression. At times you just need to sit, walk,
And just be.
let the system speak.
Yep. It's a good one. It's a good one from the Egyptians, I would say.
Tutasikia watu watasema nini?
Kabisa. We'll hear what they have to say. And so we say a very good morning to you guys as you tune in. Remember to tell us where you're tuned in from today. As we say a good Monday morning to you. Hey, April is already over. You knew what to.
Nakwambia.
Watapeleka haraka sana. April is over. Welcome.
Mwisho mwezi ifike.
Sindio?
Muhimu sana.
I see what you're saying. Good morning from Mombasa. This is Peter Kiari. When somebody treats you like you're just one of the options, help them narrow their choice by removing yourself from the equation.
Haki ya Mungu tena.
Kabisa.
-1.
Thanks. Moving forward. Sasa, I need to left.
Ulisema? Okay.
Need to
Sijiongeleshe.
Bas. Ata siko. Nani? All right. That's it. Jimmy Minothi says, good morning, Spice family. Tendencies. Is there something about tendencies?
Maybe from the word tender in Kenya, tendencies.
So, the Semenya, good morning, tuning from the UK. Glad to have you back. Thank you so much. Asante Sana. Jimmy Munuthi, thank you very much. Karibu Sana, thank you for tuning in today. And Isaiah Wajiro says, good morning, tuned in from Tanzania, tuko pamoja. Karibu Sana. And thank you so much. Kisa Daniel tuned in today. Thank you so much. Erica Ward, good morning. Thank you. We missed you, girl. We missed you too, Linda. Actually, I woke up in the morning because, my alarm is set to this time, obviously. Yeah. And so Nigeria, we are 2 hours behind Kenya. But my alarm would go off at 1:30, 1 o'clock. And I was like, okay, why is my alarm? And then I remember, okay, that's where it would be.
I am home.
I'm home. So I'm not waking up for anybody. Linda, good morning. Missed you too, my dear. Karibu Sana. Boaz Nalianya says, Binti Wamfalme. That's it. Tuning from Kitale. Good to have you. Thank you so much. Fiery Red says, good morning. Happy to have you back. Thank you so much. How was home? It was fantastic. Good morning, Aseto.
Salam Sana. Good morning, Chi.
Nahashan Gogi says, good morning, Princess Ndu and Dennis. Welcome back, Ndu. Thank you. Ndu, kindly ask Dennis. Dennis, tunachukulia wapi kura? I came to register at Amimi. We must walk the talk. Lovely to be back home, tuned in from Nairobi.
I think the registration centers, I think at the sub-county levels. Also, there is the ongoing enhanced voter registration. So you just ask around, find out within your jurisdiction where exactly you can register.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Good morning, Spice team. Watching from Portland in Oregon. Welcome back. Did you bring some fuel from Nigeria? This is Mashari and Jerry were asking. Yeah, it was a bit difficult. I tried, though. Puamali says, good morning. New energy. Welcome back. Ndu, thank you so much. New week, new energy. Welcome back, Asante Sana. Leo says, happy and welcome back. Binti Wamfalme Asante. When you went, Asante did great, no doubt. Where are you with the IBC numbers? Now it's because we're middle class. That's why we're buying fuel at $238 per barrel. That's what it looks like in terms of dollars, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mtuflani, Binti Wamfalme says, Binti Wamfalme again was what?
Binti Wamfalme, princess.
Princess, okay, that's what it is. Ah, right.
Karibu. Sema Asante.
Asante. Vince Joke is tuned in this morning. Karibu Sana, we missed you. Thank you so much. Did you bring cola nuts from Umofia? I actually did not go to Umofia this time. But I'm not from there anyway, so I don't know what I would be doing there. But I hear what you're saying, man. I have other things. They're not cola nuts, but other... Let me behave myself. Mapema. Musema Ukweli says, good morning, great team, and especially Karibu Sana. Thank you so much. While you were away, blood-based government collapsed. Thanks, Odi. I'm trusting a wicked, dangerous thug. Musema Ukweli, good morning.
Anasema ukweli.
And Asema, a wicked, dangerous thug, gangster, broker, shrewd conman in their tent.
Hiyo ni ukweli wake.
Okay. Yeah, so good morning, Karibu. Christina says, good morning. Missed you too, my sister. Sifuna needs whips. Imagine me watching the entire rally waiting for his way forward and agenda. Ebuleteni yeye hapa spice to mwambie vile he's disappointing us. He's disappointing you.
By the way, we invited him officially. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Invited him.
Amesema tulie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But wananchi wanataka kumsikiza, you know.
I know. I know.
Spicers want to listen to you.
It's true.
Yeah.
I texted him and he responded to me. He said, Tulia bana. So let's Tulia. And we'll put it out here and we'll just tell you exactly what it is.
We're just also inviting you again. Senator Sifuna. Karibu sana. The hot seat. Wananchi wanakutegea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People definitely want to hear from you,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And a very good morning to you, Wanda. Good morning. You're tuning from Toronto. We miss you so much. Thank you, Wanda. Good to have you back. What's your magic wand doing nowadays? Welcome back, Asante Sana. So, Christina, don't worry. We're working on it. And time will tell in a very short time. Drift Session says, good morning, Team Spice. Happy New Week. Welcome back and do thank you so much. While you were away, we were sold industrial sugar and Kofek alleged the substandard fuel is carcinogenic. Okay. Fuel is carcinogenic, meaning what? Are you ingesting it?
Emissions.
Oh, emissions. Hey, my brain still works. Trust me. Okay. It's interesting. All right. Young Jedi, we see you. Good morning. Papa Ogutu says, good morning. Early risers will never lack. Nairobi chilling. Ile mbaya. Chelsea hatuongei. I'm very sorry, by the way, about Chelsea. Commiserations. The Blues are a bit blue.
Yeah.
This is Inyika says, Queen is back, kabisa. Happy to see you. Thank you so much. Good to be here. Young Jedi, good morning. The realm has missed you. The realm. The Regent Dennis was lovely. We are glad our Radio Prince is back. Please prepare us psychologically next time. Welcome back to the throne. Asante. Okay, next time I should say, I'm sorry. Arsenal fans,
Yes.
otherwise read as Dennis Aseto, don't worry. City will lose to Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Villa, it's just watch. So he says that City will lose, and so they will not gain any more points, and Arsenal remains.
For once. Semokweli has not lived up to his name. But thank you, sir.
Leo's princess, yes. He says, while you're away, we continue to threaten goon hirers with the law. While the goons are captured by CCTV, they're known. Cry, my beloved motherland. That was tough to see.
Yeah.
That folks are on TV and then they were posing with other people. I mean, this is almost guilty by association. I'm just saying.
Yep.
If you were in the room, somebody needs to be asking you a question or two. Hope Lagos was amazing. It was fantastic. Good morning to you, Prince Alvin. Wanda says, on Friday, the guest, Frederick Okango, almost gave Aseto a migraine with his false statements. Aseto, you were about to bust something. But Aseto, hours. Aseto, not just Aseto, they've owned you. Stood on business and fact-check Fred the whole hour. You would have been so proud. Cindy, yeah.
It's important, man.
It is important.
I personally live in Kenya, in Nairobi. I don't come from Mars.
You live here too?
I live here too. And you see these things and you know what is happening. So when someone's not standing on business, you have to stand on business, man.
I hear you.
Yeah. But it was great. It was great.
Rose Grace says, good morning, Njana Sato, tuned in from Menara. Good morning to you. Brian I am also asking, me, one of the things I love about Kenya, the thing I love is chapati.
Yeah.
Now, they told us that there was a machine that was going to be making 1 million chapatis. I don't know over how long.
Yeah.
Where is the machine?
It was a new invention.
Where is the chapati making machine, which is supposed to be churning out, 1 million chapatis per whatever?
I remember there's a
Some
time.
of us take these things personally.
There's a time the governor was asking, saying, Tulieni, it's still being manufactured, so.
I beg you. So now that the national government is sharing responsibility with Nairobi County, does that mean that also this chapati machine they will not give us? Abi how? Where to where?
But it's the president who promised the machine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is aside from 80 billion shillings.
Bring chapati.
Yes. Machine ya chapati. President, ikufikie. Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President.
Iko wapi machine ya chapati?
Hiyo ndio tunaanza na saa tatu. Chapati, we want chapati. Arsenal one time. What Clive says. Good morning. Sorry. Hey, says, umekuja rough leo asubuhi. Sai says, good morning, tuning from Doha. And Sarah Kilonza, good morning. Welcome back. Thank you so much, girl. Good to be here. All ready for the big conversation, says Thomas Omosa. Adala Calvins, good morning, Team Spice. Live from South Korea. Please send that probe to our Treasury CS and Body. The man has been shouting and lecturing us like we're his children. It's not good. Oh. Margaret Gathoni says, good morning. We thank God for you. Thank you so much for being here. Janet Kirui says, good morning. Thank you so much. Real Institute colleagues led by a setup represented very well. Sasa Poa Kabisa. Rastkodor says, good morning, tune in, Madam Ndu and Deno. A lot happened while you were away. Okay. Tibbs Muge says, good morning. Eric Moore says, good morning. Good to have you here, Eric. We missed you. Uli Salimia, Joshua Selman. I didn't see him personally, but
Salamu itamfikia.
Yeah. Itamfikia kabisa. Sam, you're right. We need that chapati machine. I don't take these things lightly. So thank you so much. And Prince Alvin, Governor Sakaja appointed Gaucho at Mama Lucy Hospital on the board. That's the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's funny.
Let me tell you. Ile mchezo iko hii Nairobi.
Wait. It's not
and then
funny.
You're wondering why it's not working.
Lazima iwak, lakini haiwak bwana. Haiwak. Okay. So, we want to do what? Let's look into the headlines this morning.
Yes.
Maybe we'll come back later and tell you what it looks like with the weather and traffic. Ama, Nyaji. All right. We'll just do the headlines and we'll come back and link to the stories. We'll take a break for weather and traffic in just a bit. On the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard today, back to the streets. I hear the numbers in Nakuru yesterday were colossal. Opposition leaders and Gen Z activists are set to take to the streets tomorrow over fuel prices. The rising cost of living and governance concerns, backed by the Linda Mwananchi movement. The mobilization comes after Siaya Governor James Orengo called for intensified action and said it was time to send Ruto home by force, further fueling political tensions and piling pressure on the government. They're not mincing their words here. They seem to be saying it as it is. We are not dealing with drama. It's like it's a big deal here.
You said the only language the government hears is through mandamano. So
I think about it. Anybody.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to you, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. So the thing that you expect me to keep doing while you have a responsibility to fulfill, how about I stop doing it? And perhaps that will get your attention. True. It works with anybody, I'm telling you. Am I speaking to somebody? Kupet threatens to exit Shah as teachers decry healthcare delays. You people didn't even cool down for 1 minute.
Let me tell you,
God.
those are people who are supposed to shut up.
Who, Kupet?
Yes.
Because Walienda happy?
Because I remember the time when we had teachers here and teachers were speaking. We were never consulted when they were getting into this Shabiashara because we had a comprehensive cover and they did not understand. Today, wanna shut up. Walimu waliwaambia, they never listened to their very own. Today they are complaining.
KPA pushes Mombasa and Lamu as key cruise tourism hubs. I don't know what they were doing before that, but okay. Police retrained to handle gender-based violence. Really? Okay, it's about time, don't you think? I would have imagined that when you were talking about the fight against GBV, that this would have been one of the first things that you did to say, let's arm the security agencies, such as the police, to then be able to deal with things like this.
Yep.
But, again, it's just me.
I mean, you will retrain them, but have you changed your primary curriculum to address this from the word go?
Opposition Gen Z call for protests over fuel prices and the high cost of living. It's interesting because, remember the NADCO report? One of the things that continued to feature on that before getting to the NADCO report was deal with the high cost of living. It's a thing that's been on the table since 2022 and it seems to be back, and it's what led to Mandamano. Remember the Sufuria movement? Yes.
Punguza mizigo.
Baraza's warning against dynasty politics at burial. Okay. Teachers sellouts is a question on the headline of page 8 of the Standard. Teacher sellouts, union chiefs face revolt over cozy ties with State House. I say, excuse me, you're having breakfast in bed with the executive and we're here suffering. We can't even get the crumbs under the table. Stop it, because we'll kick you out. 2027 polls, according to this, Wai Kihika, she is the governor of Nakuru County, is walking a tightrope. It's a story combined with an analysis here. And of course, looking into the op-eds today, what the Iran war has revealed about JKIA and Kenya Airways. All right, that would be an interesting read, I think. And so those are some of the things that we're looking at as we're getting into those pages. Today, of course, is Monday, so we're looking into health and science. That's a pull-out in the Standard today. Get yourself a copy of the Standard as we look into the stories in detail. Of course, the Standard e-paper available for you so you don't miss a story. Sawa, let's look into the nation, sir.
Daily Nation. So on the top page, Kenya still hosting Sudan rebel leader. So that is the story that is there. Sudan rebel leader Mohamed Dagalo Al-Hazemeti and his henchmen in rapid support forces have been sanctioned by the United Nations, United States and the European Union on accusations of war crimes in the 3-year brutal armed conflict with the Sudanese armed forces for control of Sudan. But Kenyan authorities continue to roll out the red carpet for Hemeti. Inside deadly racket for stolen borders, now from northern corridors into Ethiopia and Somalia to western routes leading to Uganda and southern crossing into Tanzania, stolen motorcycles are moved with speed and precision. One asked the question, many roadblocks, what happens to these motorcycles? And we have this girl called Medina Okot from Kakamega to WNBA Stardom.
That was great.
Beautiful thing to watch, shows that when you're determined and you keep pushing, working hard, it actually pays off. We are the very best in the league. And grade 10 learners unease of the current pathways, right? Our principals have decried frequent changes to career pathways by students in senior school, saying the uncertainty is disrupting learners. Are you surprised?
I'm not.
Yeah.
But I also have to ask, what on God's green earth is going on with the increment of fees going into term 2, by the way, in a lot of national schools? What's going on?
Government, what's going on? Ministry of Education, what's going on? TSE. Are you able to speak to your teachers? Now, Sifuna Orengo camp step up pressure on ODM rivals and Ruto. The Linda Mwananchi faction of ODM took its campaigns to Nakuru, where speakers sustained the onslaught on the broad-based government. Now, riding the wave, Mount Kenya's political defiance music. Now, they continue to release music, which many say is a message to the leadership there is. And Medina Okot's journey, that is on page 3 as well. On page 4 and 5 is a story on Hemeti. On 5 is the ODM story, the Sifuna faction that was in Nakuru. And why fuel prices in Kenya are higher. And Ruto there, the president, explaining why that is the case. And border borders, an economic lifeline threatened by theft. That story has been explained on page 7. And on page 8, Sonko now free to access frozen 537 million shillings. Yeah.
Well, good for you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, looking into the Star this morning, high vehicle taxes lock Kenyans out of mobility. I'm not surprised because it means that you're not using your car as much as you would like to if you are driving, or that if you're using, I'm not going to call it public transport because there doesn't exist a public transport system in Kenya. If you're going to be using a PSV to get to where you're going, and that could be a taxi, it could be a matatu, it could be a motorcycle, whatever the case may be, and that prices are going to increase. So it's locking a lot of people out. What does that mean? That you're going to have a lot more people walking. That's the truth. We can call it what it is, but that's what it means. Oburu moves to steady ODM. Now, if you move to steady something, that can only mean one thing. That you're not moving right and that you're not balanced. There seems to be a problem still within ODM. Not that anybody saw anything different. DNA study challenges myths. Ameru trace origins to Middle East. The Ameru are actually Warabus. A DNA study challenges myths. Ameru trace origins to Middle East. Look in details of that.
So they're Arabs.
Or does this say that they are not? Because they are now challenging the story that they could be. All right. Roads PS, Joseph Bogwa on fixing infrastructure. All right. Investors now ditch state securities for bullish NSC. And Ruto defends fuel prices and says state now is in control. Sawa, the state is in control, so everything is okay. So, everything will be fine. This is what we are being told, that everything actually will be fine. I don't know, but we can look into. I think we're just going to continue looking into these stories, and we'll come and take a break and look into weather and traffic as we come back later. Let's look into some of these stories in detail, shall we? On the Standard, of course, that page. I want to look into this police retrained to handle gender-based violence. The fight against gender-based violence, GBV, has received a significant boost following the validation of a new training curriculum for the National Police Service. The college opportunity-based curriculum for volunteer service providers is designed to strengthen officers' capacity to handle GBV, technology-facilitated GBV, and related cases. The curriculum, which is developed under the police framework, integrates human rights principles, psychosocial support, and modern investigative approaches on GBV-related cases. In a move aimed at addressing gaps in police training that have often been blamed for cases of brutality, mishandling of victims, and violations of human rights. More to look into that story, but I think these are fundamental things. And I think that it's important that it was brought up. My issue is that if it is actually not followed through, you might as well not waste your time on purchasing and getting people to be trained in this curriculum. If these are the real things, if somebody is going to be asked for sex to get a P3 form at a police station when they have come to report a case of violence, we still have a very long way to go. And guess what? I mean, I'm not even just talking about Kenya. I've just come from home. And some of the horror stories that I'm hearing, that in terms of security and violence that is muted on people, and then they go to a police station to report. And what happens to them in that report, it needs more than training. It needs more than training, sitting in a classroom, learning a curriculum, doing volunteership. In Kenya, in Nigeria, in South Africa, wherever. It needs God. I'm telling you, I have actually come to the conviction that there are many things that we deal with today that is not paper and pen.
It's spiritual intervention.
I swear. Because what? Anyway, Sha, let me not shout too much before they'll now come and say it's too emotional.
It's allowed. It's allowed because you find someone has come to report a case of defilement, and first of all, what you're being asked is, please narrate to us how it happened.
Yeah, well,
and even as I plan to give you a P3, please offer yourself to me so that I can give you the P3. So a second case of defilement for an individual who's coming to report defilement.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah, ridiculous.
That's just where we find ourselves. Because even as we talk about that, there is polycare that was put in place, right?
Yes.
So we talk about polycare that has been in place for a very long time. What has happened that polycare has not achieved that which it was intended? Ni maswali tu.
I get you. All right. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. So there's this story on page 4, which is about Hemeti. And Kenya still hosting rebel leader Hemeti. Now, United Nations diplomat held a meeting with the leader of RSF in Nairobi earlier this month. So the story says, Kenya hosted Sudan rebel leader Mohamed Dagalo alias Hemeti, who is sanctioned by the international community on accusations of war crime, for a meeting in Nairobi earlier this month. On April 10th, press briefing by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres spokesperson Stefan Dujarric revealed the Rapid Support Forces leader's presence in Nairobi, raising questions on whether Hemeti lives in Kenya or he had only visited for the meeting. Mr. Hemeti is facing UN sanctions for the conflict in its 4th year, which has seen thousands killed on the same. Hemeti is facing the sanctions, and many have been killed and displaced millions of Sudanese people, triggering one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The United States Treasury Department on February 19th posted a new sanction list that included Al-Gunay Dagalo Hamdan Musa, the younger brother to Hemeti and commander with RSF. The sanctions are there. We know who Hemeti is.
Yes.
The world has spoken about this man. We know what Sudan is today because of Hemeti and the other guy from the National Army. One asked the question, why was a man who has been sanctioned visiting Kenya to do what? But even while at that, we have to ask you and the most difficult question. You're calling out the guy, but you held the meeting with the man in Nairobi. What are we not being told? President William Ruto, why do you continue hosting this man in your country? What connections does Kenya have with this man?
Sometimes things are actually as they seem. Because we know that what they're saying is, plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. We know that the more things change, the more they remain the same. Sometimes things are actually what they seem. Because here we are and we're asking ourselves, why do you continue to have this dalliance with this man who obviously has a checkered or colored past? Why do you continue to do that? Why do you continue to insist on meeting with him? Perhaps it is exactly what it seems, because what are you having a conversation with this gentleman about if you are not in some kind of cahoots with him? One must ask the question, if I'm going to borrow your phrase. I want to take a quick look at what's happening with weather and traffic. We'll come back and continue with our conversations. Just a quick look at what's happening on the roads and what's happening in the skies. And we'll come back and look at some of the stories that are making headlines. This is the Situation Room at 7:15. And we'll come back in a brief minute. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Higher fuel prices. Compared to neighboring countries in the East African community. The development comes even as he assured the public that the government is closely monitoring global and local factors that continue to influence pump prices. Speaking during a service at the Africa Gospel Church in Karen, Nairobi, the president said geopolitical tensions in the Middle East have had a direct impact on global transport and logistics routes. The situation has, in turn, affected fuel costs worldwide. He says, and I quote, as we continue to go into the future, we will continue to manage situations. These are situations like what is happening in the Middle East and that affect transport routes, logistics routes, and escalating prices. The head of state spoke in the wake of public uproar over the soaring prices of fuel in the country. Last week, the prices of petrol and diesel crossed the 200 shilling mark. per litre after the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority increased prices by as high as 40 shillings per litre in a monthly review. However, the state moved swiftly and cut value-added tax by 50%, a situation that reduced the prices to under 200 shillings per litre. But the opposition has been piling pressure on the government to further slash the taxes on fuel to ease the burden on Kenyans. Landed cost comes into play here. That what is your landed cost of fuel? And these numbers are actually available.
True.
Now, the levies and taxes that you then apply onto fuel after it has landed. Remember, when it's landed, it is already here.
Yes.
That you've done what you need to do to get it to the shores of Kenya.
It is yours.
It's yours, all
Yes.
right? What you apply after that has nothing to do with geopolitical factors.
Nope.
It has everything to do with your policy as a nation, with your regulatory authority, IPRA in this case, and your Ministry of Energy and Petroleum.
True.
Under one Opio Wandai.
Yeah, expert.
Yes. Sorry, expert. What you apply is you.
Yes.
You can actually find out what the landed cost of fuel is in Kenya today.
Yep.
And we're looking at almost double of the landed cost, which then translates to how much you spend on fuel, folks. So I am not saying that the president is not right in saying that they will do whatever they can to make things better. What I'm saying is that Kenya decides what they will apply in terms of levies and costs.
True.
Kenya decides. So he said we'll do 50% of VAT for the next 3 months. Kenya will not die.
Yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself, if you can do 50% of a reduction on fuel for the next 3 months, what else can you do in terms of the levies that are being applied? Just go look at that list. Petroleum levy, these people who were arrested and did whatever,
Yeah.
what was it that they were doing? They were essentially fixing prices of fuel.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Or they were keeping it or saying that they were going to hoard it, allegedly, so that then you now have a control over what it's going to cost in the market tomorrow. It's criminal. Yes, it is. But at the same time, you can also ask yourself the question, the high costs of taxes and levies on petrol, who decides? And who then decides that they can't be lower? This is, I'm asking. Who then decides that they cannot be lower?
You know, we're looking at what goes into the fuel and the fuel taxes, right? So that is 82 shillings per litre as taxes that have been increased on the landed cost. So that would mean the landed cost would be 124 shillings. So anything after that is what the government of Kenya has imposed on that fuel. So then one asks the question, if it's 124 and you're taking 82, can we reduce the 82 Kenya shillings to make it easier and affordable to Kenyans? Then again, another question that comes in is, any decision, any law, VAT, right, has to go through Parliament. When the president stands and makes this declaration by the roadside, and we see that being effected before Parliament passes that, does the president have autonomy in deciding the price of fuel? So as we talk about the price of fuel today, question, is the government of Kenya making it expensive for Kenyans to access fuel? If that's the case, then what ground does the president come back to tell us that we have to look at geopolitics? No. It is because of decisions and laws and tax regime that you have put in place on fuel.
Or that you are allowing to continue.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just wondering how these fellas who were sitting in the ministry and IPRA making these decisions, and you're not actually asking yourself, then how has that affected things over the last many years? Let me tell you something else. Fuel in any country, by the way, except for some, is one of the easiest, it's low-hanging fruit. It's one of the easiest ways for you to make money.
Make money, yeah.
Right? Because you can apply and say, because guess what? People are going to consume it every day.
Every
People
day,
have to move, you have to keep industries alive, you have to do all of this stuff. It's one of the easiest ways to make money. It's also something that you should not be able to monopolize.
True.
So how are you making the decision around that? I mean, fuel right now in Nigeria is ridiculously expensive, and it is 120 shillings a litre if we do the comparison.
Yeah.
But we produce the thing.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously expensive. And it's about, give or take, 70, 80 shillings less than in Kenya. But we produce the thing.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for your people? Do that and compare to a time where Gaddafi was president in Libya and fuel cost almost nothing.
Nothing. Water was actually expensive than fuel. in Libya. Why? Because they have a scarcity of water.
There you
so
go.
make it a little bit expensive, because processing it and desalinating it, whatever, is expensive for the government.
I don't know. I just think that there needs to be an open and forthright conversation about the things that are really going on. The levies that come in, because then you want to ask your question. Those levies, road there's road maintenance levy. There's something regulatory levy. There's this other one. What can you see as a result of those levies playing out in front of you? That's the question.
Road maintenance levy. We have potholes all over the place. Yeah. So what exactly are you using the road maintenance levy to do? The president here is talking about we should look at Kenya's economy as a middle income economy and not compare it with the rest of the region that you're comparing it. So Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, because they are least developed country. Kenya is a middle income country. So you need to compare it with another. I think that is the most absurd way of looking at how you're taxing fuel for your people, because it is the driver of economy. If you make it expensive for people to access fuel, you're making it expensive for your people to access goods and services in the country. I mean, one would assume advisors advise the president. I think
these things need to be interrogated. I don't think that they need to be shrouded under the cover of darkness. No. You need to speak about them openly. And if I'm not mistaken, just looking at a clip when Ndindi Nyoro said, you know what, don't be deceived that this high cost of fuel that you're seeing today is as a result of what's happening in the global spaces. Yep. And to interrogate that a little bit more, to really understand what's going on, I think is absolutely necessary for people to do. Is Kenya able to reduce the prices in the light of what's going on globally? That's also a question as well. And to be very honest and open in that space to say what exactly is going on, I think is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
One last story from you, sir.
I wanted to look at that story by Mr. President, but it's what you've just covered as well, all right? So let's look at grade 10. Okay. So the grade 10 learners struggle to settle on career pathways. So the first time following the transition of 1.1 million grade 9 learners to senior school has exposed mounting challenges for teachers and administrators as students under the competency-based education system struggle to settle on career pathways. Just months into grade 10, many learners are frequently changing subject combinations, opting for sciences one week and shifting to humanities or arts the next, creating instability in classrooms and raising fresh questions about the structure and implementation of the new curriculum. I ask the question, we have this curriculum, have we prepared these students enough to know or understand what pathway fits them well? Remember, it is competency. So at the time you find someone going for sciences and realizes, hey, no, this is not my path. What went into preparing these students to settle for any pathway that they do take goes to show that there is little preparation, that students do not understand the entire system and why it is important to settle on a pathway that fits you well. Goes back to Presidential Working Party, the ministry, TAC. Have we retooled the teachers to guide these students well? Have we even involved the parents? Because you find many students are taking science subjects because their parents have insisted on them taking that. In this entire ecosystem, who has been left outside? Because if that cog is missing, that is where we are finding these mistakes. But remember, they're already in class. Teachers, the government of Kenya has spent money to train these kids.
I don't know, man. Yikes. In education, unfortunately, you can't play catch-up.
You can't.
All the time playing catch-up. We're getting into the second term of the year. So 3 months down the line is when you're now saying, oh, well, this thing where these students have actually been in school for a quarter of the year already, perhaps we need... And I do agree that continuous assessment and learning needs to happen, and training and keeping up. There were some fundamentals that needed to have been met before, you put these learners in school.
Because at what point as well do teachers pick up that this student is good at this and continue to trigger them and tune them to that which they see this child is able to achieve? Or is it about chukua karatasi and a feel, pick a pathway? Because if you pick it early, you're able to tune this child towards that pathway that you as a teacher has picked, and have that conversation with the parent for the parent to understand, so that the influence doesn't come from the parent later that I want my son or my daughter to go to science or sports.
Those are the questions. And it's 7 a.m.
Sugar and spice and everything I
spice up your life. The latest news from around. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Busted yesterday? Still not